Hello and welcome back to rararsadventurs. Thank you for joining. If you'd like to help support rararsadventurs, please hit that subscribe button. That will really help support us. Today we are doing something a little different and we are staying local and visiting the shop Mobility. We're going to have a little interview and we're going to show you what they have to offer to hire when you come down to visit. So let's go and have a little nosy. So we are here with the chairman, Alan, of the charity Littlehampton Shop Mobility, and we're just going to welcome him. So hello and welcome. Thank you for doing an interview with rararsadventurs.
Hello and thank you.
So we are going to ask a couple of questions so you can share about what you do here and what you have on offer. Are you okay with that?
Yep.
Yep, cool. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
A little bit about myself. I've been connected with the charity since 2003 and I was local mayor twice and the chairman of our district council once.
Yeah.
I've been the chairman now off and on for 8 years.
Brilliant.
The charity has gone on from strength to strength from when it first started in 1996.
Wow.
And from quite humble beginnings, I suppose you could say, to one of the top 3 shop mobility shops in the country.
Wow.
We won that in 2018 and that still stands today.
That's amazing.
And that is probably one of the biggest triumphs I think that this charity can credit itself with.
Absolutely, yeah.
We also got a national award for a scheme that we developed to register mobility scooters nationwide.
Yeah.
And it's still being used to this very day, and I'm sure it will for many years to come.
Yeah.
And so that was the other quite big thing that we were involved with over the years.
That's amazing.
We actually have had some pretty interesting visitors here over the years as well.
Really?
We had Ray Hodgkinson, MBE. He's the gentleman that introduced mobility scooters into the UK.
Wow.
Back in 1987, I think it was.
Really?
We've had engineers that, or rather people on the engineering side of mobility scooters, has come to see us as well.
Yeah.
And in particular, the gentleman that introduced mobility scooters only had 3 wheels.
Right.
And this man made them with 4 wheels, and ever since, that's how it's been ever since. So he come along to see us one day.
Wow.
And it's amazing that the people over the years have taken interest in the Littlehampton shop mobility. Really honoured also to have Her Grace Georgina Fitzallen Howard, which is the Duchess of Norfolk, as our patron.
Really?
And we've also got another patron, is Lady Colin Campbell.
Oh my goodness.
So we're lucky to have 2 patrons.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant. So there we are.
Absolutely. Wow. That's amazing. How did shop mobility come about? How did it all start?
How it came about was it was putting it in short story of it really. A group of councillors way back in 1996 felt there was a need here for a shop mobility.
Yeah.
So through the council and other people who helped to give grants and things like that, they started it up in 1997, or rather got it rolling by 1997, and by 1998 they held their first AGM, and we've been here now for nearly 25 years.
Wow, that is amazing.
So you could say it was the Littlehampton Town Council started it all off.
Yeah, That's brilliant.
And it really started.
And there was one in Worthing, wasn't there? Bucknell?
Yeah, we used to be connected with them under, although we are a standalone charity of its own.
Yeah.
We did actually reach out to Bognor Regis and Worthing, and we called ourselves the Three Town Shop Mobility. And we worked together by our members were able to use for their membership.
Right, yeah.
Also use Worthing and Bognor Regis. But at the moment, sadly, it's now Littlehampton and Bognor Regis.
And Worthing's gone under.
Worthing's gone, yes.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
Okay, so what other services do you offer other than hiring the mobility scooters and
The other services are, we've got a pit stop service.
Right.
For people that own their own scooters,
Yeah.
that want to find somewhere or have somewhere for us to carry out general maintenance work on their scooters. It might be something as simple as changing a light bulb,
Yeah.
or even mending a punctured tyre or whatever.
Oh, we get many of them.
Flat batteries,
Yeah.
this sort of thing. We're here to help them.
That's excellent.
And there's very, very few places that can actually say that, where you can just bring your scooter in, leave it with us.
Yeah.
We give them a scooter to get themselves around the shops. And then when they come back, they can pick their scooter up. And it's only £8, that's all we are, just a flat £8.
Yeah.
Plus whatever spares for spares, but we do from time to time.
Sometimes, yeah. You also offer valets as well?
Yeah, we've got a valeting service. It all started years ago when I first come here.
Oh really?
And I saw a scooter going out, and I thought that scooter shouldn't be going out. It's purely and simply because it wasn't very clean.
Right.
And so we set up the pit stop and valeting service.
That's
So
amazing.
that is two separate services merged into one. Because I believe that whatever condition your scooter's in, it passes an impression of the organisation.
Right.
So
yeah.
you'll see always that when a scooter comes in, don't even matter even if it's a fine day and it looks clean, it gets cleaned.
Oh wow.
And it's put back in its place in our room at the back. Recharge batteries all ready to go out for somebody else.
Brilliant. That's amazing.
And of course, we do wipe the seats as well with desanitizer for obvious reasons. We've actually always done that, even pre-COVID.
Yeah. So what does the shop side of things offer?
We sell wheelchairs, brand new, and
Brilliant.
the occasional second-hand one,
Yeah.
where someone donates them to us. And
Okay,
we sell
so
them
you
on
accept
to
donations.
people that may just not be able to afford to buy brand new,
Quite
but these
expensive.
they normally are very, very good condition.
Yeah.
The ones that we get donated, and of course that is, goes through as a donation and not through so much as income from the shop. So and we sell them in all different sizes, brand new.
Okay.
Whether it's a small one for children, and then
Yeah.
intermediate, and big ones for larger people.
Excellent.
See, we sell
Walking sticks.
all sorts of things, even knives and forks and that. And this is our biggest selling product, the ferrule to go on the end of a walking stick, and we will fit it for you.
How good's that? That's amazing.
There we are.
Lots of different sizes as well.
Yeah. And walking sticks.
Walking sticks.
We've got relators, walkers. Here was this one that's been donated to us.
Oh, it's a really good
very good
condition.
condition.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, a lot of people use these
Yes.
and buy them, and they can get cheaper ones elsewhere in Littlehampton, but they won't find one as well built as these, and these do last.
Yeah.
In fact, the wheels wear out before the rest
The
of it.
actual thing.
So, and of course, we will fit new wheels on it if we need to. So,
Oh yeah.
so there we are for public, and we can't stock everything. It's as simple as that.
No.
We're only a small shop. So we do stock what our suppliers feel people need more of.
Can
And if there's
people come in and ask if, say you don't have something, would you maybe be able to get hold of that item if they can't get hold of it?
Yes, we go back to our supplier, and quite often they say we'll deliver it tomorrow or the day after.
Brilliant.
Normally within 24 to 48 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
Unless there's something really special that then you might have to put an item.
Yeah. And we'll do a little tour of the shop and out the back. They do their work in a minute. So, you're going to give us a little tour of your shop and what you have to offer?
That's right. Here we are. We're in the workshop, and we carry out, as I said earlier, this is the pit stop maintenance for people that own their own scooters. We can change some of the tyres and mend the punctures. And this is a very basic little workshop that suits all our needs and the needs of the people that come in. It is quite a busy little workshop in its own right on certain days of the week.
Yeah.
And over here is where we keep our wheelchairs, and we supply wheelchairs for all different sizes of people.
Brilliant.
And to meet their needs.
Yeah.
This is where we keep the scooters, and I'll hand you over to June, who will tell you what happens on a day-to-day basis.
So we're now with Jean, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about what happens in here.
Well, as Alan just said, this is the storage area for the hire scooters. We have two large ones. One's just gone out now. The lady's come from London and she's going to the beach.
Lovely.
Yes, which is very nice. We also have two travel scooters, and we have 7 standard ones because they're the most popular. And we have 6 which were funded by Morrison's in Wick. The big ones were funded by West Sussex County Council, and the travel scooters were funded by Arundel Co-op.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Brilliant.
And the 7th standard one is Mr. B, and it's named after Mr. Butterworth, who's a history teacher at the Littlehampton Community School.
Oh,
and
wow.
Unfortunately, he bought the scooter from us and sadly passed it on 3 months later.
Oh, nice.
So his nephew donated it, and we decided to name it Mr. B because he was known as Mr. B, not
Wow.
Mr. Butterworth in school, by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students he had.
Oh, that's
Because he was
amazing.
an amazing history teacher. He even taught my daughter history.
Oh, wow.
And she did well under his tutelage. And we always have a bow tie on it. Can I just show you?
Yeah.
Because there's a notice on it, because it's just been checked, you see.
Oh, so
We have a lot of notices about everything. There's a bow tie on it because Mr. B was famous for his colourful bow ties.
Oh.
So we were very lucky that when it was donated to us, that we had 4 of his bow ties, which I wash and press throughout the summer, so that there's a
bless
different
you.
colour each week.
That's lovely.
So, and a lot of students approach people, former students of Littlehampton Community School, they approach and say to whoever's in it, Mr. B, my history teacher. It was Mr. B, my history teacher. He taught me how to love history. I loathed history till he taught me, and I can vouch for that with my daughter
Oh, bless.
and my son, because they were taught by Mr. B. But he retired, as I say, and so he went to school in his colourful bow ties, and no one dared call him Mr. Butterworth. He was Mr. B to everyone, not Mr. Butterworth.
Oh, lovely.
So that was it. So they've all got a history, and they're all named after people. Scooter 1 is named after Alan, our chairman.
Right.
Scooter 2 is named after former customer, Fred, who sadly passed on earlier this year through, he passed on through cancer. And scooter 3 is his wife, Millie, who still comes to us from Arundel. And scooter 4 is named after Jason, one of our volunteers.
Oh, lovely.
And scooter 5 is named after me, June.
Brilliant.
They've been trying to name one after me for a long time. I finally agreed. And Mrs M was a Mrs Martin, but we knew her like Mr B as Mrs M.
Lovely.
And she sadly passed on, but she was a wonderful regular customer who would come in 2 or 3 times a week. And in her honour, we named one after her. And of course, 7 is out, Big Philip, after a former volunteer who's had to leave because of the COVID and everything. And we've got 8 and 9 on travel scooters, and they are named after volunteers. Betty, who's retired now, and Angie, who's still with us, been with us 12 years.
Wow.
Longer than me. And so Betty and Angie, and that's why they were all named after former or present trustees or good customers.
That's a really nice touch.
Yes, it is. That's why they're named after. I don't think I mentioned Big Bob was named Big Bob after a wonderful man named Bob McDowell, a very special customer who worked tirelessly campaigning to get our hospital, Littlehampton Hospital, rebuilt.
Oh, wow.
And by going out in a hired scooter from us and getting signatures.
Oh,
We took it to Downing Street, to number 10. Unfortunately, it didn't help, and sadly he died a few months later.
Oh, no.
Yes, he wasn't. But he was very sad it didn't take, because he even went to the beach and collected hundreds of scooters, and everyone knew him as Uncle Bob because he wasn't blessed with children, but we had a wheelchair for a child. We don't get many children coming here because most would get their own wheelchairs through the NHS, but we have an emergency one for usually in the summer holidays if they have an accident, and it was donated in his memory of Uncle Bob, as he was called, because he had lots of nephews and nieces, so he loved children. So they thought a child's wheelchair, even though we only use it about 3 times a year,
doesn't matter though,
it's there in his memory, and it goes from age 7 to 11. It's one of those wheelchairs which seem to suit most ages. So that's all about these scooters. And the wheelchairs are out here.
So what else happens in this area?
Right, well, my computer's there. Do a lot of computer work because we are getting more and more emails where people book by email.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm always checking the emails, and of course I'm always applying for funding for our charity. That doesn't mean to say we always get it, but I'm always applying for things if I see. So we do a lot there. We keep the charges up, on there. So it's really a storage area,
And
a workbench, if you like, from my point of view, computer area, and of course the filing. There's always things to do. I'm never short of things to do, and of course not forgetting the important coffee area.
You can't function without a good drink.
That's right. And of course, mainly the male workers work in the workshop where we're donated scooters and wheelchairs occasionally. Everything has to be thoroughly cleansed and checked. And we do sell them quite cheaply because we're in a deprived ward.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yes.
It really is. So we have come outside because not only do they hire equipment out for people to be able to go out, but they also sell books, and Alan's going to tell us a little bit more about that.
Here we are, this is the book trolley, which brings in a small steady income for the charity. The proceeds goes to paying for things that we just haven't got the funds to pay for, to to spend for anything else. So it's a great asset to us. And of course we sell DVDs and CDs as well.
And puzzles.
Oh, that's just
Everyone likes a good puzzle.
this is just only just come in.
Oh, it's new.
Somebody donated loads of jigsaw puzzles recently, and I tell you they've been selling like hotcakes.
Everyone likes a good puzzle.
If anybody wants to buy a jigsaw puzzle, Littlehampton Shop Mobility is the place to come. Every customer that comes to our shop and uses them, there is a 2-space parking area for them. It's on a first come, first served basis. So if you come early, hire a scooter, you can park your car there for the whole day.
Lovely.
Littlehampton Shop Mobility has never been without its brilliant ideas and ambition to move into the future. We had brought about the National Mobility Scooter Register and a few other things we've spoken about earlier on about our achievement nationally, and we're still one of the top 3 in the whole country. And just prior to the lockdown, we had the thought about the High Street. We want to make the High Street the safest place as it can be regarding mobility scooters. We hear stories about people saying, well, the scooter came up behind me and I couldn't hear it, and this and that and the other. It made them jump, or it cut in front of them, nearly tripped them over and things. I've never seen it, but we hear this does happen, and hopefully it's none of our customers that get involved with these things. But however, during the lockdown, the manager and I got our heads together to try to address the problem, because these mobility scooters that are owned privately are quite often not insured, and quite often being driven by somebody that isn't been trained to know what they're in charge of. And it is, if you like to look at it in a bit of a blunt way, it is a very small weapon in a way if it's in the wrong hands. So what we decided to do was to bring about a program that actually trained people how to use a mobility scooter, how to maintain it, what to look after and what to check every day, and moreover encourage people to insure them against all risk. If they injure somebody, if they injure themselves or something happens to the scooter, it's all covered by insurance. We put the idea to one of the local authorities and they loved it. We invited the police here during just in the little breaks between the lockdown, and they loved it. So we went on and we planned it, and we've got the whole thing worked out now. One of the local authorities has given us the free use of their car park. They give us the free use of their council chamber, and I believe they're even going to supply the tea and coffee and biscuits.
Oh, very nice.
And what the beauty of the whole thing is, it's going to be a free service for these people. So Littlehampton Shop Mobility is going to be seen, and in partnership with the local authorities and the police, and indeed the National Federation of Shop Mobility, to be addressing this potentially difficult problem that we have in the high streets and town centres. If anyone's interested in insuring their scooter, mobility scooter, or powered wheelchair as well, come down to Littlehampton Shop Mobility, pick up this leaflet, read it, tells you all you need to know, and in the back of it, it's got the form to fill up for you to apply for your insurance. It's as simple as that. Well, the National Mobility Register, commonly known as the NMR, was devised in this shop in November 2014. And believe it or not, that chair there. And we say that because this chair's got a bit of a reputation for people getting good ideas about things. Anyway, what happened was, a lady came in, all very distressed. I've just had my mobility scooter stolen from outside Sainsbury's. So we dealt with it, got the police down and one thing and another, and after she went, I thought to myself, this must be happening all over the country. And I think it's a good idea if we try to do something about it.
Yeah.
A few days and weeks went by and it just hit me one morning. Why don't we register it?
Yeah.
Unique registrations for all scooters everywhere. And before we spent much time on it, I went to see the policeman at the police station. We spent a couple of hours working together and we worked out what information should be in the register. I then designed a database that took all this information and we ran it here. It was launched on the 10th of July 2015.
Right.
And it was a great success. People queued up to get their mobility scooters registered, all for £1 a time. You know, there's a special promotion figure. And we lost no time in asking the National Federation of Shop Mobility if they'd like to take the service on. A few months went by and we got an invitation to go to London to meet them. And we did, and we worked all sorts of things out with them, and they then sunk the money into perfecting an online database that will take all the registration information, the payment for that registration for the police to use, and the only people that have got access to that information is the people that work with the database. It's been recently moved to Truro in Cornwall, but it did start off being in Wellingborough in Northampton. I find the details of registered scooters. Now you may wonder, why do people steal these scooters? Well, research found that not only is there a very small amount where a young person will get on a scooter, they're easy to start up and drive it off and you think nothing of it, but the most concerning people that steal them are the ones that steal them for the precious metals that are inside them, the non-ferrous metals, and to sell them for scrap. And also there's a fraternity out there that will steal a scooter to raise funds for whatever criminal activity that they're involved with, be it drug related or whatever. So, which I think that is absolutely astounding. And a lot of people, up until the register was set up, once their scooter was stolen, they had little hope of ever seeing that scooter again. And when you think of some of the scooters that are owned by these elderly people, cost at the time around about £1,300 to £1,500 each. That's a lot of money to lose in one bite. So locally here, we did recover scooters. The police came here as the first place and said, have you got scooter number so and so? And we did actually recover some. And Marjorie, that was the lady that came in here, become a good friend of this Shop Mobility, and she used to come in regularly. We used to give her a cup of coffee, a cup of tea or whatever, and a little chat, and then she used to go on a scooter back, and she used to live somewhere over at Great Walk.
Yeah.
And so she became a friend of ours in the
That's
end.
lovely.
And a part of the early stages of the launch of the National Mobility Register. So that's how it all started.
Wow.
And now it's, as I say, it's in Cornwall now. So, but it's still serving people all over the United Kingdom.
And it's still active down here?
Still active.
Yeah.
It's still active all over the country.
Brilliant. That's amazing.
Anyone can access it.
Wow.
So there we are.
Okay, so we have had a lovely time coming down and visiting Littlehampton Shop Mobility, and I'd like to say a massive thank you to Alan and Jean for letting us come and talk to them so that they can share what they offer here. And we'd just like to say that the Shop Mobility is based on donations and fundraising, and all staff here are volunteers. And if you live closely and you feel that you may be able to offer your services to come down and volunteer, talk to June and Alan, and they'll be happy to talk to you about you coming to be a volunteer.
The volunteers we have are the lifeblood of our charity. Without them, we would have to close. So if you have any particular talents, for example the workshop, office, shop, do call in and see me, and we could perhaps work out when we could fit you in if you would like to do some volunteering, even if it's only a couple of hours once a week. Thank you.
And also to remind you that if you've got any equipment that you no longer need to use, or you have it stored away and you don't want it anymore, please bring it down here and donate it to the Shop Mobility, because they can make a lot of use out of it. They'll clean it up and then they can either hire it out or sell it as an aid for other people to get some use out of it. And just to say, if you've only just joined us on rararsadventurs and you'd like to help support, please hit that subscribe button, that will really help. Okay, thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Lots of love and take care. Bye!